Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
As long as the day starts that way and ends that way, I'm good.
Hello, I'm very well. How are you tonight?
Mike,
John? All right, sir.
I'm upright.
Upright? Hi, Joe. Hello? How are you? If I was any better, I'd be twins.
What's up?
John, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good to see you. See you.
Good to be seen. As my brother says, better to be seen than viewed.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm a drop off, which is very typical for me. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's drop. That's what I thought. Generally speaking.
How you doing?
Are you? Yeah. Oh, everything, one time I picked up, and it's almost.
Second work early.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. It's just an introduction. Mike is last.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
This morning on my
My daughter's figured out that I get up early, so she gets there early. She can do chores
Oh, yeah.
and she gets,
Yeah.
nothing. I take her early in the morning and still.
Get your money's worth. We had something, I don't know. Like, it was breakfast, it was at 7 o'clock, I dropped my kid. I didn't find it was like, daycare open for 6:30.
Yeah.
So,
You sit in front of.
yeah, I usually get there about 7:30. I get there at 6:30. Charging? I feel bad.
I felt a little bad on last one.
Yeah, that's he's definitely been like the last. She doing summer camps or?
Yeah, like basically already. They're driving there for about a month.
Exactly. She's figured it out.
Go to the pool every Monday.
Yeah.
Is there a PowerPoint?
So it's just in the, the slides are in the document. Okay, well, just scroll up. Yeah. So there, A is, that would be. Based off several of those.
You said that twice. It's gonna become a rumor.
Oh, no. Yeah, my daughter, she's over at. Yep. As long as it meets code. She's just finishing up her. It follows the rules of the building. Build it in the right place. Buy my own land. I'm following all of your guidelines. Boulder, Colorado.
That'll be a full-time job.
Yeah, no, that's her, that's.
I'm up for DeSoto's Diamond Club. That sounds good.
September.
Yes.
I'm working on, deaf systems for. Researching catalysts, essentially.
Was that a discussion? You guys.
That's one.
It's been a while ago when that concrete plant came up. I thought I got up and talked and it was on the agenda. And I know you're not supposed to, but.
Once in a while, Roger makes an exception.
Okay. But if it's gonna be a discussion where the audience can participate at the end, that would. I think that stream side thing is pretty neat. Here he is, maybe he.
And
2004. Why still book up the So I hear it's in place. Materials are thrown away at your.
do I?
Good, how are you?
There we go. I was in the wrong email. I was in my wife's.
Oh. Well, that'll make a difference.
Yes, it will. You get all kinds of weird stuff. Get to the agenda. Hey, Roger, is any of this tonight public hearing? I was trying to. Okay, I didn't think so.
So I can't talk about the stream side thing? I'm not gonna say anything, I like it.
You are welcome to address the planning commission public comment.
Okay,
Technically, it's not about anything, but there's no action item related to this.
yes, just a discussion.
There you go. See, I told you that's the guy you need.
I mean, can I talk at the end instead when you're having the discussion, or is
No, 'cause
it
it's
just,
not
just
open for a
you
public
guys? Okay, well, then I'll,
It's goofy how it works. You know, I wish you'd run for a state house and read us a different statute. Yeah. Do all this. Because it just bugs the heck out of me. I'm sorry.
it bothers me enough just standing up here.
How's Linda doing? I know, crazy. Well, I've had better days, but I've got an eye issue with my left eye that I'm not really happy with. I'm gonna have to learn to deal with it. I've got I call it a macular pucker.
What the heck is that?
The area where the vitreous fluid in your eye up a little bit, it's pulling on the back of my eye, on the macula. So on my left eye, if I look at Roger, face about that big, it's a real fuzzy area. If I look at straight lines, they do this.
Weird.
I had a bunch of floaters a couple weeks ago while I was driving, which was extremely annoying.
Yeah.
Flashes in the corner of the eye once in a while. Finally got an appointment today with a retina specialist for the 21st of September.
Oh, it's crazy.
Well, it took 7 days longer than it should have because my eye doctor. I love the eye doctor, and luckily she's leaving to go to a different place. I had an appointment for September 1st, and I
Staying cool?
annual checkups. We canceled those because I sent the wrong records.
Good heavens, you have a terrible time. Man,
No. We went
And I
to
didn't know it until
professional
the
women's
witness
softball
place.
league. They started
They
like
told me today and talked to
them.
them. And I got the skinny of what my situation was. I said, so this is,
We've been out there.
and she said, bare bones, no.
We went out Saturday
Didn't
night.
get any worse.
And I have never felt more.
It's not probably, chances it's gonna get better. Not what I wanted to hear, but I'm learning to deal with it. Kind of took the wind out of my sail. Had eye problems. I really don't need to, well, I didn't really.
Fireworks
I
after
do
the game. The one to stick around with the fireworks.
That's why I was thinking Patrick, and I said, oh, good, Moses. I can only go a couple hours at a time.
Yeah. Sun going down, didn't it?
Brad sent stuff out.
When the rental place called me, the appointment set up, and then they sent me a text verification. Well, my last name was spelled with a C. I'm back. I said, just to let you know, last name was okay. We'll correct it now. I went over yesterday and I picked up my. I went in and I looked.
We can start now, Chad.
Same name.
Yeah.
Born in July 17th, 77.
No, just putting in new floors.
Lived in
That's been
Lawrence.
the treat.
So I was 19 years younger, and I lived in Lawrence, which I never had.
Moral of the story is don't live in the same house for 34 years.
When you call the number for all of their eye doctors' offices,
Yeah.
said I need to,
You had enough.
Yeah.
because they've got my.
If I could get out of my house, I would.
She talked to him, and I talked,
My wife's plan.
and I think it was the office manager. I don't know. She goes, "Well, I'm going to have a consultation with Dr. Have her call me. I want to talk to her." So she talked to Dr. Hamilton, and she said, "Patient right now," but she said, "It's done." She I said, "Sure." So I just sat on the front porch, called on speakerphone. About 35 minutes later, she was first hand so I did a whole spiel. I said, "I have no confidence in your office."
There he is.
I said, I love everything you done because we followed her to the office. But I said, "Thank you." I said,
My clock says 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Martin.
Here.
Templin.
Here.
Lane.
Here.
Huggins.
Here.
Milburn.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Maddock. He's right there. Just waiting on it. Okay. All are present today.
Thank you. Item 3A, approve the planning commission agenda. I had a suggested change. I'd like to suggest moving 7D to up before B and C. The Streamway Corridor setbacks and trail system, I think that discussion is kind of a different discussion than the text amendment. Have that first.
Fine with me.
I'm good with it.
Good.
So,
Make a motion to move item D up to between A and B.
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
A little delayed, that's all
We're gonna
right.
assume that.
I'm gonna assume that was in favor of it. No worries. Item 3B, approve the minutes of the planning commission meeting held on June 23, 2026. Any changes, corrections, or additions to make to the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Minutes have been approved. Item 3C, disclosure of conflicts of interest. Anything on the agenda tonight that's a conflict of interest that needs to be disclosed? Seeing none. Item 3D, disclosure of outside communications regarding commission business. Anybody have anything to report?
Nope.
Okay. That moves us to item 4, the call to the public. Members of the public who wish to address the planning commission regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. Any presentation is for information purposes only. No action will be taken. There's a 4-minute time limit. Anyone like to address the planning commission? Please give your name and address when you approach the podium.
My name is Sarah Vandekreek, and my address is 8175 Ravenswood Lane. I just want to thank those of you that have taken the time to help me understand the processes and the things that happen within the Planning Commission, and just being open to kind of help me answer my questions when I have them. I have been trying to get the word out because I know that one thing we talked about is the need for more people in the public to be involved. in this part of the process, so it's not so confusing or startling to them when things happen. And I would just ask that if the council or that the commission has ideas or suggestions or any avenues that they think would be best to try to help spread the word and what kind of word we want to get out on how the processes work within the city, so I can help maybe disseminate that information to someone else. I would love to hear from you. I would enjoy feedback on that. And if you have any questions for me, I'm always happy to answer. So thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Hello, I'm Mike Caldwell. I live at 8412 Corliss, and just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about the stream side setback and trails report that's online. And, you know, I think this is probably the best piece of work I've seen the city put out ever. And I'm not in the thick of it like you guys are, and I don't. But I do try to keep up with what's going on and keep track of things. But this document seems to cover everything we need to protect our streams and to establish a trail system that makes sense. I like the science in the Lenexa part of it, where they map and grade all the streams, whether they have names or not. And it appeared, they did all that in 2001, if I have it right, and it's been working for years, both legally and practically, and all you got to do is spend a little time walking in the parks in Lenexa. You can see how they're laid out, how they're trying to protect all the streams, how they've kept the development away from it. I wish we had this about 5 years ago. I think we really need to make this a priority and push it and get it done. We need to map our streams. We need to grade them. We need to update our master trail plan so that it incorporates what we find out in the mapping study. Because right now, our master trail plan just seems to follow roads. And I think having the trails go along the streams and do it prior to the development makes a lot more sense than trying to do it afterwards. And I think, well, I'd like for you to, I know it's going to take time. I don't know if we can get it done by the end of the year. That may be aggressive. I think that ought to be a goal. But as we evaluate future developments, I think we ought to keep this study in the back of our heads. Some examples to kind of, put a little more reality to it is, look at the digital realty out at Ad Astra. That thing's going to be on a hill right above Kill Creek. Where that water's going to go, there's going to be a big concrete pad. There's going to be a lot of rooftops. Water's got to go somewhere. And another example is out at Flint, the Bill data center. There's a creek in that report mapped right where that data center is. What happened to it? I suspect it got culverted over, and long story short, I wouldn't want to be downstream from that. It would have been interesting to see how these things would have turned out if we would have had something like this in place, like the Cedar Creek development that's going on. I don't know what kind of setback they've been allowed or what's going on, but I think it's going to look different than what it would have been if we would have had this in place, and we would have got a trail.
Thanks, Mike. We need to wrap it
So
up.
I'll wrap it up. But all in all, I think it's an awesome piece of work done. I don't know who did it, but they ought to get a raise.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the Planning Commission?
I actually just wanted to provide some evidence and context for something that is being discussed tonight, so I don't know if that's allowed or not.
So first, give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Delgado. This is my emotional support toddler. I live at 33844 West 88th Street, DeSoto.
So if it's an action item, really shouldn't be taking public comment on it. We have a
Okay.
couple of discussion items here tonight, so discussion items, feel
I'm too
free.
ignorant to know the difference. I'm an astronomer by trade, so I just wanted to provide some evidence that's tied to light pollution. I don't know if, I can come
Okay.
back another time if
It's
it'd be more
probably
useful.
not the right time for that.
Could you tell me when, just so I
Well,
can, I've obviously got stuff.
if you'll see what we do with that proposal tonight.
Based on what's there.
And you'll get to see something on that, so.
Okay, cool.
There will be, whatever would ultimately be adopted will be subject to a public hearing, and you're certainly welcome to participate.
Okay.
At this point, it's merely a discussion item, so
You said it's not an action item, it's a
it's
discussion.
not an
item.
action item, it's a discussion.
So I
item.
could talk about it.
Yeah, I just don't know what you're talking about when you're saying presenting evidence, because we're probably not in a position to take evidence, but if you have a comment, we'd be happy to hear it.
Okay, so what I mean in terms of evidence is actually a map. This is NASA data. So I've got two maps really. This one's from 2012. This is showing light pollution in our area, and I'm sorry, I'm too poor for a color printer. That dot that you're seeing there is Lawrence, the big dot, and then the really big blob over there is Kansas City. This is light pollution. The whiter, the pinker, the worse. That was 2012. This is what it looks like in 2025. Again, this is based off of NASA data. That dot that you see appear there, that's from the Panasonic data center. I don't know if I can say specifics. Light pollution generally is caused by bluer light sources that go up. They hit the atmosphere. Blue light scatters more than red, then gets scattered all around. Blue light can be very dangerous for your health and wildlife. That's why they tell you things like don't have your cell phone near your face while you're trying to go to bed. It messes up things like your circadian rhythm. Lawrence has adopted a measure like this, and I would be happy to come back at a later time to talk about specifics. The American Medical Association specifically says 4,000 degree Kelvin lamps are bad for your health for the things I'm mentioning. They're tied to blue light. They have more blue light. The hotter the bulb, more blue light, more scattering, more negative health effects. Whereas lower temperature bulbs, closer to 3,000, those are generally not only better for you, better for the sky, better for the environment, but also more pleasant. People tend to like those kind of bulbs. Those look like more the old school incandescent bulbs, like what we used to have before they made us get rid of all of them and get the LEDs. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. I'd be happy to talk about it more if
Please follow
possible.
along, please participate.
Thank
We do
you.
appreciate that. Anyone else like to address the planning commission? All right, with that, I'll close the, Mike, there's nobody online that wants to address it?
Nobody's hand is up.
Okay. With that, we'll close the call to the public. That moves us then to item 7. And the first thing on our agenda in the new business is to consider the final plat for Carriage Houses 16. Brad, our favorite topic.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just when we thought we were finished with the carriage houses, it comes back. So this is the 16th plat for the carriage houses, and it's a very, very, very minor change. They have just changed the sequencing order of the buildings. Instead of 1 through 6, it's been flipped to go 6 through 1. And because the plat had been recorded, we have to go back all the way through the process again. So nothing has changed except the order of the buildings. I'm not exactly sure why they wanted to do that, but it's their choice. They've paid the fees and submitted the application, so we have to process it and move through it. So I will stand for any questions you may have, but that is the very simple and basic reason why we have another carriage houses plat.
Any questions for Brad?
I have one question.
Okay.
Does the city have a classification for plats, like might be called a minor plat that would be administrative?
Not administrative. We do have a minor plat. There's 5 units or less, but we don't have any kind of administrative.
Seems like appropriate.
Well, all plats have to go to the planning commission, so it can't get filed with the county without the planning commission chair's signature on it. So by default, there will always be this step. We do have plats that can create less than 5 acres or parcels, don't need a preliminary plat. There's a lot of utility plans and study planning that's not required, so they're more administrative in nature, but they still come here.
Other questions for Brad? Nope. Thank you, Brad. As for the planning commission, any discussion? motion?
Make a motion, we approve the plat as presented and move the plat forward to city council for acceptance of right-of-ways and easements.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Third.
Roll call.
Schultz,
Yes.
Maddock,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Huggins,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Templin,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That takes us to the old 7D, which we've now moved to 7B, which is the presentation on the Streamway Corridor setbacks and trails.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to point out that Dominic, what's that?
I was gonna introduce it real fast. Is that okay?
Oh, well, you want to introduce it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The context, I think would be good.
Well, that's what I was going to do, but all right.
Sorry.
Okay, boys, don't fight over it.
Yeah, no, I apologize. I just wanted to give,
Forget to compliment Dominic, because he's the one that did it.
I know. Well, if you let me finish, I got it. Jeez. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Brandon Mills, Assistant City Administrator. Over the summer, I've had the privilege of supervising our city management intern, Dominic, who is a senior at Wichita State University studying political science with an interest in urban development, city planning, public administration, and city management. Dominic has had the privilege, or I think mostly privilege, of sitting in the same suite as Mike and myself and getting a front row seat on several city projects over the course of the summer. He's worked closely with Mike, myself, Patrick, and Brad, providing research and assistance throughout the summer. One of Dominic's major projects grew out of a park board meeting. Mr. Caldwell had come in and he had discussed, as the city develops, he'd like to see us develop a streamway setback policy. So naturally, we decided this would be a great project for the city intern. And so Dominic has completed an extensive research paper on this topic that's in your packet, and he will come up to you today and give you kind of a brief overview of his findings. The request tonight is just to roll this into the comprehensive plan that's going to start here in the next few weeks. And then after that, we'll roll through some of the other options during his presentation. So with that, I will turn it over to Dominic. I apologize, Brad. I didn't mean to steal your thunder there. So I'll turn it over to Dominic.
So, Mike, I guess that's the answer to your question, to the guy that wrote it. Since this is him.
He's probably not making enough money.
Clearly not.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. My name is Dominic Psyche. I'm the City Management Intern. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to present this to you tonight. I'm presenting a preliminary policy proposal concerning stream setbacks and developer trail dedication. This policy is designed to protect our watershed health and infrastructure while proactively expanding our municipal trail network through the development process. If fully implemented over time, this framework could yield over 40 linear miles of city-owned trail corridors at minimal public capital cost. Next slide. So I'd like to introduce the concept of stream setbacks. So at its core, a stream setback is an undisturbed natural corridor maintained between the edge of a stream and permanent man-made structures. Rather than applying a single rigid setback line across every property, my proposal utilizes a dynamic 3-zone system similar to the one used in Kansas City, Missouri, and Lenexa that scales horizontally based on the stream size and environmental sensitivity. So the 3-zone system, the architecture, we have the stream, and then the innermost zone is called the inner zone. It's a strict conservation area directly along the bank, so you can't really do anything on it. No mowing, nothing. It is to preserve native vegetation and deep root systems to physically bind the stream bank, preventing severe channel erosion. And then we have the middle zone. This absorbs a large portion of the 100-year floodplain and adjacent steep slopes. This area acts as a primary flood retention buffer and natural filter for urban stormwater runoff, while also safely accommodating low-impact multi-use trails. And then we have the outer zone, which is a flexible buffer extending outward towards buildable land. It permits passive recreation and simple structures, for example, a gazebo, providing a gradual transition from public conservation to private development. This framework achieves 2 critical municipal planning goals simultaneously. So for one, we have the natural infrastructure protection. It keeps high impact development out of ecologically vulnerable flood zones, filtering urban runoff like tire particulates, fertilizers, and salt before they reach our watershed, while also preventing bank collapse. And secondly, there's a proactive civic connectivity element. So it preserves contiguous corridors, allowing DeSoto to weave a master planned trail network directly into our natural geography during the platting process at zero land acquisition cost for the city. Next slide, please. So how do we deal with this now? So the current framework that DeSoto uses is primarily through Chapter 16, Article 5. This is a floodplain management. While Article 5 does successfully prevent structures from being built directly within flood hazards, it does not preserve the surrounding natural corridor. So adopting a dedicated setback ordinance would allow us to evolve our approach, shifting our streamways from simply being managed hazards into actively protected assets. Next slide, please. So why now?
Before you get there, maybe could
Yes.
I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So how do these other cities protect that area? I mean, I understand we have setbacks that say, and we've got our floodplain regulations that say you can't build in that area, but are you saying that we would adopt an ordinance that says you can't take down a tree in that area? Is that kind of what that
Correct.
would be?
Yes.
And so those are the kinds of ordinances that, say, for example, Lenexa has.
Right, that is correct.
Anything that's in that streamway, you can't.
You cannot touch it.
Okay. Thank you.
So why now? DeSoto is entering an unprecedented period of growth, and as the rural land is annexed and platted, our window to secure these corridors is strictly time sensitive. Securing dedicated easements during the platting process avoids the extreme costs and logistical problems of retrofitting rights-of-way later or being forced to follow road alignments for future trails.
Let me stop you there. So
Yep.
you're also advocating, in addition to you can't take down any trees in there, that they would actually dedicate easements to this
Correct.
along the streamlines.
Correct.
Okay.
Within the middle zone.
Got it.
Next slide, please. All right, so I've evaluated 3 regional models that I believe were gold standards, and then I built a framework tailored to DeSoto. So Kansas City, Missouri uses the established foundational 3-zone structure that balances the strict bank preservation with the flexible outer zone uses, and it is the most simple ordinance of the 3. Lenexa uses a scientific data-driven typology system categorizing streams based on bank health and volume, and this allows them to scale setback widths required to, allows them to scale setback widths requiring narrow buffers on degraded streams to reduce unnecessary friction. And lastly, we have Platte County, Missouri, which requires mandatory trail dedication and construction when a development intersects a master planned trail. Next slide. So this proposed policy offers 3 core community benefits. So the first is environmental protection. So leaving native vegetation undisturbed allows a deep root system to stabilize the bank. This prevents severe erosion and naturally traps some of the urban runoff before they reach the local watershed. On your screen is an example. The top photo depicts a stream that has suffered severe erosion, and the bottom photo is an example of a healthy stream with intact banks because the deep root system was held it in place. Next slide, please. The second benefit is trail connectivity. So maintaining these contiguous undeveloped stream corridors enables the city to secure easements for low-impact trails. This can link isolated neighborhoods on the fringes of DeSoto with each other, and then eventually to the broader trail network and existing sidewalks, which will make for a highly dependable, interconnected pedestrian network. Crucially, on the more rural or less dense edges of the community, the trail materials do not need to be paved concrete or asphalt. Instead, we can use low-impact materials like mulch or crushed gravel until the city observes clear demand and has the capacity to upgrade the corridor. And lastly, a third is economic value. So regional and national economic data indicate that residential and commercial properties adjacent to natural stream corridors and permanent trails consistently experience higher valuations, faster lot absorptions, where the trails can act as a premium marketing tool for neighborhoods. Next slide, please. So mitigating the drawbacks. To ensure this policy is equitable and legally sound, it should have 3 crucial components. So one is developer incentives. So this is what Kansas City and Lenexa do. With the loss of land because of the setback, they incentivize developers with density bonuses, yard setback reductions, or parking relief. 2 would be parkland credit. So DeSoto currently requires that 4% of gross area in any new subdivision be dedicated to parkland. This trail dedication and construction would directly offset that, preventing double taxing the developers. And lastly would be variances and protection. So a case-by-case variance process would ensure relief for genuine site-specific hardship. Crucially, I want to make a big note of this, all existing homes and approved plats would be 100% grandfathered in. This would only apply to new. So I'm not advocating for us to ask developers to solve DeSoto's regional trail gaps entirely out of pocket. What I'm saying is that if your new neighborhood brings in residents who will rely on our infrastructure and an official master trail corridor crosses your property, you must build that segment to accommodate your project's specific footprint, and in exchange we'll credit you with the existing parkland requirement to keep it fair. If a developer can technically demonstrate that a required dedication is completely unfair given the size of their project, or if the setback makes the land entirely unusable, a clear case-by-case mechanism must be in place to grant relief. However, this variance process should be used as a true safety valve, not a standard loophole. As Platte County explicitly states in its code, granting waivers too easily would dismantle the continuity of the intended trail network, so exceptions should be reserved for rare occasions. So on your screen right now, we have the very preliminary conceptual map of the urban growth area, which indicates a theoretical maximum yield of between 42 and 52 linear miles of connected corridors. So this would be incremental, long-term strategy. The infrastructure would only be built out as the private development naturally or organically occurs. The light blue on the map would be what are called ephemeral streams. So those are stream beds that are only have water in them during or after a rainstorm or otherwise dry. And then the dark blue are what are called perennial streams, which typically have water in them all the time. And then in gray are corridors that are either owned and operated by Johnson County Parks and Recreation District or soon to be. Next slide, please. So to move this concept to formal policy, I'd like to make a few recommendations. So I'd like to integrate this with the comprehensive plan, which would require you guys to authorize staff to incorporate streamway setbacks and master planned trail corridors in the upcoming comprehensive plan update. We also would like to recommend expanding the 2018 Parks and Recreation Trails Master Plan to include these potential corridors. Number 3 would be to engage consultants to conduct a stream asset inventory to scientifically classify and inventory our stream channels. And lastly, direct staff and the city attorney to draft ordinance incorporating these recommendations. And that is all I have for you tonight. I will stand for any questions.
Questions for Dominic?
Yeah, a couple of Dominic. Does this consider the floodways and for the streams that are in floodplains?
Floodplains, yeah, generally most of them would be in floodplains.
Consider the floodway.
Floodway. So that I don't know the answer to that. Can I get back to you on that? Okay.
It would.
And in the 25-foot stream sides, basically we would assess the streams.
Correct.
Value them. Is there any lower limit on the drainage area that would create a stream corridor?
Right, so that is the intention between the stream asset inventory. So once that's completed, they will assess the bank health, and if it is degraded, then ideally we'd have a provision where the setback could be reduced. And then our 25-foot setbacks would be preserved for our more healthy corridors.
Well, let's say you've got a 20-acre watershed that has a very minimal stream. In cases like that, sometimes you don't even have a defiance.
Right.
How would that fit into our?
So generally, the way Lenexa does it is that they have to connect to other streams, so third-order streams, which would be like your named streams. So it would have to drain into the river. It would have to connect to drain into the river. So if it's just like within a property or between a few properties, but it doesn't drain directly into the river, it probably would not count.
do we define what we mean by river in this document?
The Kansas River.
If it's not directly tributary to the Kansas River, our document would qualify for a stream zone.
Correct.
On the 25-foot setback, are utilities allowed, you know, sanitary sewer needs to go along the creek.
Mhm.
Is sanitary sewer allowed in that area?
So not within the 25-foot zone. That is a strict no build. Nothing can go in there to keep the roots stable. So if we were to plan to install any underground utilities, they would have to go in the middle conveyance zone.
And in the evaluation we're planning on having done, do we account for areas with steep banks? I'll just make something up here. Let's say you've got a significant creek, like maybe Kill Creek,
Mhm.
that has a floodplain that comes halfway up the bank. But because it's a rocky bluff, the bank extends significantly higher. Would this allow for the stream setback to not be set off that extremely high bank?
So that is not something I address in the paper. I don't know the answer to that. I can get back to you on that. I will refer to the Lenexa and Kansas City, Missouri ordinances. That's a very good question.
I'm not familiar with Kansas City or Platte, but I do know Lenexa doesn't take that in.
They don't take it into account?
But that doesn't mean, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And did you review the APWA stream setback requirements with this, or just?
No, I didn't. The APWA, can you elaborate? What is that?
American Public Works Association.
Oh, okay. No, I did not refer to that.
They've got a section dedicated to stream setback.
Okay.
Which actually most of the cities in Johnson County use as opposed to the next.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Good work.
Thank you.
Other questions for Dominic?
Yes, yeah, first of all, good job, Dominic. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Good presentation. So I guess the question that I have is on this process, maybe it's something you can answer, maybe Mike or other staff. Is this going to come back for a public hearing?
Well, as I understand it, the recommendation is that we take this into account as part of the overall comprehensive plan. So I'm sure we'll be talking about all kinds of things, and the question is, should we include this kind of discussion in the comprehensive plan? I think that's the only thing we're being asked to consider.
Because my concern would be the people that are not here, the landowners, that are going to be affected by this.
It's going to definitely have an impact, certainly to the
Yeah.
extent we're requiring easements and saying you can't cut down a tree in the stream.
Well, yeah,
so that's going to cause some stir, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know if it's an actual easement, but I think it's going to be
Yeah.
an ordinance drafted that says you can't build within this area. And I'm in support of something like this, but I think the important people that are not in the crowd today are those landowners that are going to lose the value of this land. I mean, it's going to be just like an eminent domain without them knowing about it.
Well, certainly we wouldn't get that.
Is there enough? I think he said that there's a big sway evaluation that needs to be done in order for us to really assess what we're asking. Would that be the appropriate time to kind of bring that before landowners? So, because otherwise we're just kind of guessing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the appropriate way to handle this would be to, if this is something that we find of interest, we should definitely want to include it in the comprehensive plan discussion and consider what appropriate ordinances are going to come out of that. And of course, that will require public hearings, and we'll go through that process. And certainly to the extent that we avoid the problem by grandfathering existing building that doesn't really take care of your problem that you've identified, where there's people that own property out there that's going to be essentially a taking. To the extent that it's going to affect their ability to deal with their property in the future. So there will have to be a public process with it. So I don't think what we're being asked to consider tonight is whether we think that's right or not.
Yeah, I
It's
just think,
just whether this is worth a discussion.
yeah, and I think it is. But I think what Commissioner Huggins was talking about on those upper
Yeah.
streams where they're really not defined, when you go out there and look at it, it's not like Hill Creek.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are really going to be, those landowners will be impacted, because then they'll, surprisingly, they won't be able to develop their land as they saw yesterday because of this ordinance.
Well, I'll add to that. To me, a lot of these identified corridors are within our planning area, but they're not within our city boundaries. So some of those may never develop with the kind of intense development that you'd be able to do in Lenexa, where you get the counter, be able to have more intense development for more streamway. These may never be sewered. So, there's things to talk about.
I'd be interested to see in how Lenexa and Kansas City and Black County, how they've handled. I'm sure that's not the first time that situation has been brought up. And if this was in effect now, what would this do to the Grotto development, where that drainage stream goes right down the middle of it?
Yep.
So would that include approved preliminary plats as well?
Well, I think what we're having is a very common discussion when we're talking about imposing new restrictions on private property rights. It's kind of inherent in the Constitution that the exception is we get to decide what zoning controls there are. I think what we have here, Dominic's done a great job at a policy framework document that gets us thinking about the many facets of this particular discussion about this particular thing that we might want to incorporate. The comprehensive plan is a perfect place to start with that, because you can start the community discussion. It itself has community involvement, engagement. It itself has a public hearing process. Never mind the zoning. I mean, we put it in the comp plan without putting it in the zoning. It doesn't. It's just policy. Then there's the next step of the further discussion with individual landowners, and this. I mean, it's this. The next two things on our agenda are very much the same. These things should be done with care and with feedback, and done collaboratively is what we see. So this is extremely good policy document to get us thinking about the first step, in my view. And that's all we're saying is, hey, let's take a look at it.
The only caveat I would make is that, unlike the next two that we're going to talk about, this isn't actually a proposal for a text amendment. This was a policy document to say that we wanted to have this discussion.
Yeah.
So I think this is the right way to present that.
Yeah.
Because I'm certainly not ready to talk about a text amendment.
I love the idea, but
Yeah, I do too. I think it's great. I
use
the county's trails all the time. I wish we had more of them, wish they were more connected. Totally a fan. Totally get that.
I think we've done a
But I also
phenomenal job
recognize
here.
we're different
Thank
than Lenexa. It's just kind of how it works. Okay, so do we have a consensus that this is a policy that we would like to see brought into the comprehensive plan discussion?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
I see no opposition to that, so let's consider that approved.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Dominic.
Great job, Dominic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Job.
Well done. Okay, that moves us to 7B, the dark skies text amendment, potential text amendment. Again, this is a discussion item, so we're not ready for a public hearing on this or taking testimony or evidence, as was suggested earlier. We're not quite there yet, but this is a policy, a discussion of how we'd like to proceed with a proposed text amendment.
Yep. So just some brief comments, Commission. So these, the documents you're looking at, those were part of a larger set of proposals that Councilman Bradley, who's here in the audience, had brought to the council's attention, to staff's attention, as things he believed would be a good thing to consider and look at. The city council really didn't do a deep dive on any of this, essentially recognizing that the items, particularly lighting and the tree regulations are, you guys are the subject matter experts on things of that nature. So the council was supportive of sending this to you for your consideration. Earlier today, again, Dominic did some great work he and I worked on trying to identify out of the proposed regulations by Mr. Bradley, do they duplicate things we already have? Are there inconsistencies with what's proposed? And maybe most importantly, what are new items or new regulations that you might be interested in pursuing? So that's the PDF I distributed earlier today. Dominic put red notes across the PDF, just calling some of that out. And obviously, we can continue to, fine tune that. But the intent there was to try to isolate things that you might have interest in incorporating into our regulations. Ultimately, the question is what changes to these two sets of regulations does the Planning Commission comfortable recommending to the City Council? So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And I did, Mr. Bradley is here if you have any questions of him as to these. So thank you.
Thank you. So probably this is a question for Dominic. Our existing regulations that you compared these to, is that from Article 6? It's basically this off-street parking and loading regulations is kind of the only light portions of our existing code.
I'm sorry, could you clarify where exactly again?
So we were provided with an existing city lighting requirements, Article 6, off-street parking and loading regulations.
Oh, yes, that is correct. Yes, the city code, yes, addressing streetlights is in that section.
Okay, and that's
Yeah,
the only section we
F.
have on that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, Chairman, if I can just throw out, we also, as part of the site plan process, we require a lighting plan to be submitted as part of that process.
Do we have a separate set of standards we apply to that other than this? This is the only place we actually have lighting standards.
Correct.
Okay. Because I know we've seen the photometric plans and those kinds of things on site plans. I'm ignorant enough to say the staff think this complies with it because I don't know. So that's me.
Agreed, totally.
Okay, so this matter is a discussion item for the Planning Commission. Probably got this when I got this, which was late last week. And, to me, there are a number of things in here that are worthy of understanding better. Certainly when you compare it to what we have now. To me, I feel like this probably deserves some attention. For example, I don't know what the USBGC is in the IES model light ordinance language or the IES luminaire classification system that's all referred to in here. I don't know anything about it. It may be absolutely appropriate, but I don't know what it is. So to me, I think we need to have a better understanding of what that is, how that will affect essentially the usability of the other properties and developments we have. And I'm assuming these are probably more stringent, which is maybe appropriate, but I don't understand it.
Right.
So that's me. Maybe you guys have better understanding of it.
I don't, I concur totally.
So, I guess I'm just going to play ignorant on this. I mean, is the reason that this is even coming up is because all the light pollution from Panasonic, it's in the sky? Is that what it is? Or
part of the impetus for it, and obviously there was construction lighting that, if you look today compared to what it was 6 months ago, it's a lot different than it was. And I think the photometric studies we were provided for with what Panasonic did at the time we approved those were in compliance with our regulations, and best I can gather, probably is in compliance today. I don't think they were in compliance during construction at all. So that's part of this issue, but it probably seems appropriate to talk about it. I would agree.
So generally, when we submit for site plans, we have to have the photometric plan. It has to have 0-foot candles at the property line. So we have that showing 0 at the property line. But is it the lights going up? Is that what the concern is?
Charlie's trying to talk.
questions too, if you guys don't mind. So this amendment goes in to talk about auto dimming lights, and I would like to understand that a little bit better. To your point, Roger, it talks about the cap and removal of the tree canopy, and then it talks about something about triple damages, and then we're sort of incentivizing people to do this. So I have a lot of questions as well as to what are we doing today and what are we going to try to ask these companies to do, and specifically around this auto dimming proposal that we're putting in here.
Good questions. I mean, I think these are things that we probably ought to look at a little more carefully. You know, they've also got the amortization and phase-out period that within 5 years, things that aren't in compliance or need to be removed. And so we got a little different angle on this. It's not like grandfathering what's there, but new construction in accordance with this. We're actually requiring people to do it. Apparently, it also applies to the residential, because the phase-out here says it's exempt from the 5-year mandate, but may maintain until fixtures replaced or repaired. I mean, I don't know. We want to get in the business of checking everybody's door lights, but you know, maybe that's where we go. I don't know. So I would suggest that I think the right way to attack both of these will be for either staff to go through this process and kind of be able to inform us as to what these things mean, or if we have planning commissioners that would like to participate in some kind of a committee, to work with staff to understand where it is and actually come to us with an ordinance that we can explain to anybody who stops us on the street and says, well, what did you change? I'd like to be able to say that. I mean, I have the same understanding that you do, that our photometric study generally requires 0-foot candle at the property line. I get that. As far as the color of the light and, you know, how intense it is, you know, we kind of have some language on there about that, but not a lot. And so ours probably is in need of some attention. I would agree with that. But I don't know that this is it, and it incorporates a lot of things that I don't understand. So I'd want to find more out about it. And I think city staff, and certainly if there are commissioners that are interested, maybe we can do something with that, and you guys can.
So where did this document come from? Is it from another city that has this?
You have a question for Zach?
Well, yeah, I just want, I mean, anybody. I mean,
I
staff.
got no problem if you want to ask a question to Zach. Go ahead.
Good evening, Commission. The answer as to where it came from is the model lighting ordinance from the Dark Skies Alliance and the, there's a North American portion of the International Illuminating Engineering Society of North America, IESNA.
Is that who the name I'm looking for?
Yes, IESNA. But
IES?
IESNA, North America.
Okay.
The other one, the USBGC, is the U.S. Green Building Council. They do the LEED certification stuff.
Yeah.
Those guys. And really, we're talking about them at the same time because this is the initial discussion, but they're really two separate ordinances, the Dark Skies and then the urban forestry. The urban forestry ordinance was modeled on the National Arbor Foundation's model ordinance. And just to be clear, these are just the starting points for discussion. No one's expecting you to take any action on these right now. As you said, there's a lot of stuff that still needs to be clarified.
Sure.
Some other things that need to happen that haven't happened as of yet. In my opinion, we need to consult with the state forester, perhaps the K-State Extension Service, someone like that, as to the appropriateness of the different vegetation, and all the things that go along with that, because I'm not a forester or an arborist, and I don't know if anyone else in here is, but there's a lot of stuff that goes with that, you know, like how do you identify whether it's a female mulberry tree? I don't know. But that came from the state of Kansas's recommendations. So maybe they know more about how we should phrase it. This really, for me, was just a starting point to bring attention to it and to say that there are some things we need to probably work on. And this isn't intended to replace, as a whole, any of our current ordinances. It's intended to amend and add to. We're not trying to reduce anything, because we do have pretty comprehensive vegetation and urban forestry type ordinances as it is.
35 pages, my count.
Yes. And so this would be to amend those and sort of make them a little more comprehensive and update them. I'm not sure when the last time they were updated was, but that's my intent. And that's where it came from. Hope that answers your questions.
And so the dark light skies is over here, and our code is over here somehow.
Yes.
Okay.
Our code is pretty limited on the dark sky stuff, and all of those are, like I said, taken from the national model ordinance language.
From the IESNA.
The IDA, International Dark Skies Alliance, and Illuminating Engineering Society of North America.
Okay. All of those guys sound smarter than me, so I get.
They're all smarter than me, that's for sure.
That's fine. Okay.
Any other questions for me? I'm happy to answer.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
So, how do you want to proceed? I mean, first of all, the question is it worth talking about?
Yes.
Yes,
I think so too.
absolutely.
Okay. So if we want to talk about it, then the city council has done us the gracious favor of kicking this down to us. Try to figure it out. So I think that we should pick up the mantle and do what we can, right?
Agreed.
So I don't necessarily feel like the right thing to do is to say, well, Brad, go ahead and go at it. But I do think that it might be helpful to have a couple other voices in the room when trying to figure this out. I don't know if anybody's interested in participating in that.
Would this be something that we could have a joint meeting with some of the council members and some of us?
To me, it doesn't seem like a bad idea to have those voices in the room, but Patrick may have a different view of that. I don't know.
Yeah, we generally, I mean, there have been meetings more on big, visionary topics and subjects. But really, talking about a specific proposal like this, it probably would be better to keep them separate because you're an advisory board to the city council. And the purpose is that you guys act independent of the council and you're focused on, planning, does this, the city council has more, inquiries or things they want to, staffing to implement these things, that type of thing. So my suggestion would be probably keep it separate.
Can I add to that end? Part of one of the ordinances is a sort of a reimbursement mechanism for retrofitting stuff, and that seems to be more aligned with a different type of ordinance than with the zoning and planning commission's bailiwick of what you guys do.
I get it. This policy is going to be absolutely entwined with it, which is why, to me, it doesn't seem like it's a bad thing to get voices from the council to have this discussion as well. That said, maybe we take the first stab at it from the planning perspective of these are the things that we can come up with, and maybe we kick it back to council and say, what do you guys think? And see what they say about it before they come back with a text amendment.
They kick the can a little bit.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
I think what we have now definitely needs some work, because my personal opinion is when Panasonic started all of this, we kind of got into a panic mode because we got the stuff coming in, we need the housing, we need this, we need that. And it's like, let's hurry up and do all this stuff. And now we've kind of, Panasonic's going, we can take a breath a little bit. Say, okay, now let's dig into this a little bit deeper, see what we can do, because we're encroaching a little bit on rural areas that really don't have a say in the matter. So if we can not interfere with their style of life as much as possible, get a little bit of lighting and standards taken care of, some of the tree situation, so that maybe we don't have to go through the deal like we just did with Panasonic, having to come back and say, oh, we took all the dirt away, now we can't grow anything.
Wait, we still haven't gotten that back to us, right?
No, they haven't.
Okay, just checking.
So, I think we definitely have some work to do.
Quick, more of a question, maybe you guys know, but I did briefly talk to Cameron, our building inspector, about
these things, particularly on the lighting, and I think, if I'm remembering correctly, he indicated that our regulations already require all lighting to be down.
It does.
You cannot have any up lighting at
It
all.
does.
Correct.
So, I just wanted to confirm that that's
Yeah.
the case.
It's unlike the landscaping ordinance, it is literally 2 pages. And the 2 pages require that all lights be at a 90-degree angle and pointed down. And we have some different rules for if it's like a industrial facility, that having them on the buildings, things like that. But it's very, very, I mean, it's just bare bones. And there's no question that we probably should strengthen this. I think that makes perfect sense. I don't know switching to an entirely different kind of system is the right answer, because there's just a lot of complexity that goes with that and has unintended consequences in terms of what that means for people that are actually trying to build. So I'm hesitant to just say, oh yeah, sure, let's go with that. We kind of need to find out about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if we start scrapping ours and going with something new, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means of the imagination in life. And if we go with something like this, we're gonna have text amendment after text amendment. You know, people come in here and say, well, why did you do this? Then another text amendment again.
But it's good to explore what
It is.
other options
is.
are out there to see if
Totally
we
agree.
are missing
And
something.
maybe this is the right answer. I just don't know.
Well, I think
mean,
it
there's-
certainly
there's a lot of
deserves a
work.
lot of.
There's a
yeah.
lot of work to do on this. I don't see
Yes.
this happening in 3-6 months, getting anything out, because it's,
This is
I think it's good.
complex. I think
Yeah,
it deserves
it's-
some time and attention.
And maybe as the staff looks at it and as the committee looks at it, or whoever's gonna give input on it, maybe they come up with a better way to address it, at least without having to throw out the baby with the bathwater and go with a new system.
A lot of stuff in this I like.
Yeah, I agree.
When I saw these, I was really planning on coming in and asking this big table.
Is that a motion?
And that staff bring us back a more comprehensive analysis. You know, the items that are in this report, you know, here's the actual show us what the ordinance are, the effect, and how those would have to be changed. I guess after hearing this discussion, I certainly backed off that a little bit. Do we wanna tax the staff with that? You know, doing all that work if we're not that interested?
I think we're interested. I am, in getting it, exploring it further.
Well, I'm certainly interested in strengthening our light ordinance, because I
Yes.
think it's very weak. And I think that the gal that spoke, the public comment, she's got a good point. I'm sure that if you did look at satellite imagery, it's changed a lot. Now, from 2012 to 2026, we've doubled in population, and there's probably lots of reasons for why that. It's not necessarily because everybody's got lights pointing up. It's just because we all have more people.
But if you put in a brighter light, you don't need as many to get the same effect. But I am confident that having a upper limit on the Kelvin. I'm sorry.
We're also
See, we
well
don't know
educated
about
on
these. That's what we need to know the
Brightness of
terms.
those lights is probably a really good idea, which I assume we don't have anything specified.
We do it all in foot candle.
The Kelvin lights, I did understand that part.
Well, the Kelvin is the light. You definitely want something that's lower. I agree with some of the observations that the lady at the beginning had. The world of lighting is very complicated.
So, being sensitive to your comments of not really wanting to just throw it back to staff and say, go figure it out, do you feel like that's something that we collectively could do or should do, or, you know, maybe we leave it in the staff's hands and have them go talk to a consultant or somebody? I don't know. We don't, none of us, I think, profess to have that kind of knowledge.
No,
And I'm not volunteering. But I thought the idea if some of the commissioners could get involved with staff at those that's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe a commissioner or two and staff sit down with some experts and ask them to present what they would like, what they would do in their.
I would be interested in participating in it, just so I could learn something about this.
What'd you say, Charlie? I didn't hear what
I agree with Commissioner Howard. We should have staff with a few, commissioners.
That Charlie, did you just raise your hand?
Did you?
You know, I really wanted my help, I could.
We thought you said yes, you were volunteering.
Well, I don't know that these two proposed ordinances are necessarily the same in terms of what might be of interest to commissioners, and maybe it's two separate groups that look at all this. I don't know. By that same token, I'm not asking anybody to volunteer more time than you need to volunteer, so I totally get that. But I do think it would be helpful to get some input from the commission with staff to go through these things. Yeah.
Just wonder, would anybody be interested, you know, the PDF that we distributed today, Dominic identified, you know, and we can do more detail, but there were sections that these are new. And I wonder, do you want us to come back with in a different format, essentially giving a narrative of, these are new regulations. Is this something you want to pursue to maybe make it a smaller puzzle to solve? And then
Like, maybe take a stab at sections at a time.
I think that's great, but by that same token, what I don't want to do is come back without a recommendation. We want to have a recommendation that's presented to Planning Commission if we think this is what's going to work. As the committee of the whole discussion thing, I just don't think we're going to get anywhere with it. I think it needs to be somebody who's looking at it, who's talked to whatever experts we need to talk about, and they can come back and say, you know what, we've looked at it, we think this is the right way we need to go. That, I think, makes more sense for us to deal with as a group as opposed to just, well, gee, I don't know.
yeah, I agree.
That's a suggestion. Is Dominic handy here? Close enough to hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Dominic, so here's my suggestion. Why don't you and I get together on lighting, and we'll take 6 or 8 cities worth of lighting ordinances and slam it into like Claude or ChatGPT and have it spit out what's the difference between ours and theirs, and then you and I can a la carte anything that we think is worth adding into ours.
I'm open to it. Yeah.
He says he's open to it. Great.
We'll have to tell his professors he's not coming back.
I was gonna ask, how long is he here?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Dominic's last day is the 14th, excuse me. So we got a little bit longer. So I'm sure we could move that as quickly, and he might be open to maybe doing something virtually, maybe. Yeah, so we could certainly look at that.
Good.
Okay.
Well, he may be an independent consultant.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm concerned if we give him any more work, he'll start getting health insurance. So just want to make sure that.
That would be helpful. That's great.
I think that's great. What I do not want to do, though, is to come back here and be presented with something that has 15 different options, none of which have a recommendation, and us try to wrestle with that. So if we,
Well, and a definition.
if we
of
can
the
get
different-
to, if we can get to something that staff recommends that we look at this, that's really what I want to do. And if staff needs assistance from us to do that, great. If staff wants to do it on their own, great. But as Mark suggested, when I opened it up, I'm like,
You
give
weren't
me
the
a
only
recommendation
one.
of what you want to do.
Yeah.
So,
So do we need to table it then until
well,
they come
it's
back?
a discussion item, so really don't have any action to take other than if we want to formalize some kind of steps to take before we bring it back.
I think we've got a good start with them taking the look at the lighting and recommendations there, and staff's going to go over it and present their suggestions.
And with respect to landscaping, I would love to streamline this and make it a little bit easier to deal with. And it's kind of adapted over the years, and we've had several text amendments over the years for things that doesn't work. So, I think it's probably right to talk about it.
There's a few things that I like in here, though, that are good, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm not saying that what we have is wrong.
Right.
And I think that there probably are some good suggestions, but I do think it'd probably be worth looking at that. Certainly we know that Panasonic's gonna come back and want a variance because they don't want to put the stuff in they said they were going to, so we know that's gonna come up.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make a suggestion, we leave this in staff's capable hands to let us know, and if they're looking for volunteers to give input, great. We'll rally the troops and do that if we need to, as opposed to actually creating some sort of a subcommittee tonight.
Sounds good.
Johnny volunteered to help, too.
Except for Charlie, who's going to absolutely do what he just said.
I probably will now,
Okay. Any further discussion on those two proposed text amendments?
No.
Then that, I believe, completes our agenda. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
No.
Motions?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We're adjourned. Thank you.